Hello, you. It's Sunday night. We're here. We're primed. And it's another episode of Audio Who. And tonight, me and the panel have gathered to sit and tackle somewhat of an epilogue when it comes to a hell of a lot of stories within Big Finish's timeline here. And Sylvester McCoy's Death in the Family. We have Ace and Hex. We have the final chronological appearance of the late Maggie Staples, Dr. Evelyn Rossiter in this one. Spoiler alert. Probably best known as Evelyn Smythe for a lot of you. And we have got three different stories rolled into one here. We have Hex's outings, we have Ace's exploits, we have the return of the character known as the Warlord. What did we think about this one? We're about to find out, but before we get to that, let's get to this. It's your panel for this evening. It's lining us down in a nutsack. It's Sunday off, but it's here nevertheless. It's Texas Timbo. Timbo, how goes it?
Hello.
Good to have you, man. Thunder from down under, early doors on a Monday morning. Hey, Jay, how's it going, man?
Hey guys, all good.
Good, man. NYC's own Mr. Will Medina in the building. How's those Giants going, Will?
They just won. Yeah, hey now.
There you go. And of course, on the way for Cali, it's Sue from TARDIS Crew. How's it going, Sue?
Hi, from sunny California.
There you go. So yeah, guys, a Death in the Family. As Tim alluded to when we came on here, but rather before we came on here, this probably isn't the best listened to if you're not familiar with a good lot of Big Finish's back catalogue. Sue, we apologise if you were confused in any way, shape or form. This really ties up a lot of loose ends in the Doctor's lifespan, well, for the 6th and 7th Doctor, as well as Evelyn, as well as the return that I obviously had previously mentioned of the Warlord. So opening thoughts, where do we begin with this? Well, can I get your opening thoughts, please, on the Death in the Family? Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, Philip Oliver, and the late Maggie Staples.
Like you said, this is the last story with chronology with Dr. Evelyn Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great story, and is you could say it's a tragic and sad story, but like you said, and we were talking about earlier, it's in four. It's 2 discs with 4 parts. The first one, it starts the story arc.
Yep.
With the Doctor dying. The second arc is about Hex, how he rebuilt his life after the adventure. And the third part is, you could say, Ace's adventure. Instead of just living a normal life, you can see right there she starts becoming like the Doctor, and then learning how to bring him back. In which the 4th chapter brings all that, and how the Doctor deals with the Warlord, and of course his final time with Evelyn. So it really stands out. It's a great story. We talked about other stuff that happens inside a little while.
It's kind of like one of the anthology sets, except it follows one major arc, and it's no 4 different stories. Kind of weird, but true.
Yeah.
Tim, how about you with this one, mate?
I agree. It's an amazing story. It's very well done. This third time I've listened to it this morning, over the last year and a half, I think, and it struck me, like you said, it's several stories rolled into one in a way. Because it does kind of pass the baton between each episode to a different character, and it's really brilliant in how it tries to display how manipulative this Doctor is, and how his companions, especially these 2 that have been with him for at least a couple of years, as far as they're concerned, how he's changed who they are and how they behave. And even he warns him about that. He mentions Evelyn warning him about that early in the story, whereas we actually hear her do it at the end. And it's amazing the way it ties up all these different loose threads, like you said, that have been going throughout the run of stories. The Warlord is an amazing character. I mean, it's good that they don't overuse him. They pretty much got rid of him here, I think. But I would stress that mostly there's no other Doctor like this one. The 7th Doctor is very manipulative. He sets all of these things in place pretty much, I think. Doesn't he? You get to the end, you realize a lot of it's Ace's handiwork, but really he had all these things planned out, and it's amazing how he pulls it off. You couldn't do that with any other Doctor, I don't think.
No. McCoy, the Master Manipulator. Susie, again, our apologies if you were somewhat confused, but how did you find it?
The only thing that confused me upon first listening to it was the repeat of the beginning section of each of the story arcs, because they had running in parallel kind of thing. I was a little thrown. I kept going back to the one before, and and then I realized, oh, I see. It's carrying on from this central core point out into this Hex's story, and then Ace's story, and then Evelyn's story. And I did bawl over the loss of Evelyn. Wow. I mean, I'd only heard maybe 6 adventures with her in it, but it got me right where I live. And the Ace relational, she was awesome. So,
Shameless plug. Yep.
She was really able to be relational with these people, and then also she was able to overcome the influence of the Word Lord, and the Word Lord was awesome. What a cool baddie! Sort of like a Time Lord, sort of like something else, some sort of and played by the guy who was like the lead clown in Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Ian Reddington. Yep.
Yeah, Ian Reddington. And I live in Reading, so that was cool. And so, yeah, it was really fun. It was a good story. I guess this is my first introduction to Hex. I have to go back and cover his stuff, but other than that, I was touched by the Professor Smythe, or Professor what's her name again? What was her? Rossiter, yeah. Professor Rossiter's demise. Wow.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks.
No bother. AJ, top that.
I thought it was a brilliant story arc where it sort of splits into about 3 or 4 different stories with Ace, Hex, the Doctor, 2 versions of the Doctor, past and future. I think that the Dream Lord Dream Lord, I said Dream Lord. Word Lord reminds me a lot of the Dream Lord. Sort of how maniacal and crazy he is against the Doctor. Not to mention he's a bit master-like too, sort of in his manicness of it. The sadness of Evelyn's death as she's like laying on the stage and dying is quite tragic, I thought too. And even though she was quite calm in her own mind as it was happening. Spoiler, I guess. But other than that, yeah, the story was just beautifully flowing. I think Ace actually got to see a bit more characterization than anyone else. She got the best characterization in it. So yeah, quite a story.
No, that's fine. Excellent. For me, yeah, it was the intricate weaving of the story that I enjoyed out of this. You had the initial setup with the Doctor's demise, and you had the future Doctor putting events in motion, then you had the stuff with Hex on, what's the name of the planet Evil was on? I nearly said Peladon.
Pelagon.
Pelagon, yeah. And then you had the stuff there with the hand of veil and the religion types and whatnot. And then along comes Ace with her fictional husband / fiance in the guise of Henry Moon, played by John Dorney. Good stuff there. And then we have the resolution with the death of Evelyn, Maggie Stables, his final chronological appearance. All in all, greatly done and greatly masterfully weaving to A, tell a decent story, and B, tie up all these loose ends for all the stuff back for Nimrod and the Forge trilogy, to this also being a sequel to the Word Lord, story number 4 and 45. Ian Reddington, I loved in this. He was sinister, he was maniacal, he was devious. And there were just parts where he was just damn right funny in the way he was responding to people. Ian Reddington obviously taking over the role. The guy's name in 45 escapes me, it was Paul or something, but...
yeah, like you said, I regenerated and he wearing a scarf.
So we have a different incarnation of the Word Lord here, but all in all, I love this, and it was Ian Reddington as the Word Lord that really stood out, as well as Maggie State was always great, always top brass, and it was, you know, a decent way to go. It was ironic that it was a heart attack, as you discover, as you get back and listen to all her previous outings, she does have heart trouble, so she's always on that medication, and unfortunately this time the cocoa couldn't help her out, so all in all, top-notch story. Right, guys, any events, characters, or instances within the story that stood out for you? Well, go for it, mate.
Well, the first one that stands out, of course, is Ace, and how when she met Mr. Noon and was able to activate that, you could say the computer from the future like that. The tablet, yeah, with the word line. She was able to manipulate. You know, I'm not saying manipulate, but she was able to ask him to write a story about her because she knew how much that was needed to deal with the Word Lord, and I mean, that really stood out because you could tell right there that how much influence the Doctor had on her, especially when she's trying to take over the TARDIS. I mean, that really stood out. I liked I also liked it how Rory, Hex, stood out because after he dealt on what happened with his mom, Dr. Evelyn was able to explain to her all the you can say the two story that she had and met her, and how much of a great lady she was before she became a weapon for the Forge. It was calmed him down like that, and he was almost starting to start his own life there. In a funny way, I wish at the end of this story, knowing what happens to him a little later on, I wish he would have stayed there and ended his story arc there, and at least he would have lived a little peaceful life for himself. Consider what happens to him later on. So I wish that could have ended right there, because if he realizes you don't jump in the head, we only see him a couple of more times in stories until he leaves. So in a way, he could have left in this story arc.
Could have been a simple case of, you want to go, Phil? No? Okay, here's something more. You know. There you go. Yeah, you're right. Interesting piece where they tried to get Ace's story weaved into the hand of Veil so that the wheels could be set in motion. Good stuff there. Tim, how about you, man?
Well, I would just say that it's just cool how it all ties together so well, because it could have easily been a convoluted mess. I mean, if you'd been at the planning meeting for this, you'd have been like, oh, and we're going to throw Evelyn in as well. she almost, it's a very Doctor-like story when you listen to it. She's also only in 2 episodes, Maggie Staples. And even the word Lord disappears for two episodes while they're building up the story. It's amazing how it all comes together at the end. It's brilliant how they pulled it off. I mean, I kind of agree with Will, though. I mean, I haven't gone past this story, but as far as Hex's character, it does seem like it would have been a good idea for him to stay behind. Because I've got ideas about what happens with him later, and I think this would have been a far more suitable ending for him. And it does feel like his story is pretty much done, but that's a whole nother point. It's just an amazing story, but like we stressed earlier, it's recommended you'd actually want to pick this up after you've listened to the whole range up to that point, I would think. Of this Doctor and then the 6th Doctor. Even though, not to confuse you, some adventures they come later with Evelyn with 6, but oh dear.
Yeah, but that's the trilogy with Thomas Brewster, so that stands out by itself.
Yeah.
She even mentions that, though, even though it hasn't happened yet.
Well, it hasn't happened to us, but we haven't heard it. But to her, it already happened, since that was with the 6th Doctor.
That was earlier in her character, right?
No, it was earlier for the Doctor. So that happened for her.
Yeah.
That was a 6th Doctor story, that's why.
Tommy Brewster. In a sense, I got away with it because the trilogy came out like 3 stories later, so it's not really a big issue. It's not as if it was like 200 stories later, then that finally happened. So, yeah. Crap, who did that? AJ, go for it.
Yep. What am I going over again, sorry?
Events or characters that stood out for you.
events are correctors. Yeah, the warlord, he was completely and utterly insane. I like the part of his console was called the meme rotor.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Sure. Hex reminded me a lot of Lister from Red Dwarf a bit, the way he spoke and how he sort of went off a little.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone picked that one up, but he sort of reminded me of Lister a little bit there. 27th letter in the English language. That kind of threw me for a loop.
Well, what is that? Does anybody know what the 27th letter in the English language is?
No. From his nobody knows.
Yeah.
From his there was 27 letters, and the doctor did something that eliminated one of them.
Yeah, and it threw him for a loop and screwed him up or something. It was pretty awesome though. Also, nobody. Oh no, bollocks. I would have said the timeline was rewritten for the Doctor instead of being just replaced. Like, you know how time is always being rewritten in the show on TV?
I think he mentioned that.
Yeah, but they didn't say rewritten. They said it was just like replaced or redone or something like that. Which is a bit weird. They could have said rewritten. It would have made more sense.
Yeah, it's just different semantics anyway, right?
Yeah,
So.
I'm just being picky. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We wouldn't have been Doctor Who fans if we weren't picky.
Yeah, true. Yeah, well, that's all I got at the moment.
All right, mate. Sue, what do you reckon? Anything for you?
Well, Maggie Staples, Evelyn was amazing and really, really, really rich character. And yeah, I'm a big Evelyn Smythe fan at this point. I think that the older the companion, the better in so many ways. It's in my humble opinion, anyway. And I really loved how Ace and Noon were relating. I mean, it seems really interesting, but Ace is the one who actually, falls in love and keeps falling in love and trying to build relationships with other people, especially with men, or with women, I guess, in the survival story. But
Really?
Well, anyway, it was just a thought. She's amazing in building relationships, and I'm learning from her. So that's really the fun thing about listening to Ace's character, is that she's got such good romance and people skills. I love it.
Well, whatever floats your boat. Anything else?
Well, here's a funny question. The warlord was talking to the Seventh Doctor that even though this is the second time they meet, that they met more than twice. The way the warlord was talking about him, that he met a couple of them. He met him. Well, he said he met the Doctor other times, but whether it was just Doctor or other ones, we don't know. Because you can say that this is the last appearance of the warlord that takes place after the Antarctica thing, but the way he was talking to him, that he met him before.
They probably just threw that line in there in case ever wanted to use him again.
Yeah, like a future version of the Doctor in his future in the Warlord's past.
There you go. That's what you call. It's what you call a trade covering your ass. So there you go.
It's Doctor Who. Not every adventure is written down or televised. So.
All righty. For myself, yeah, it was the stuff where nobody know what and what was her name? Dr. Moon. No, what was her name? Professor Moon. Ace's fictionalized alter ego. They basically blasted her to bits after she got weaved into the Handaveil. I really enjoyed that. Did you turn the safety thing off? No, bad mistake. Quite funny that. Evelyn, it was nice, as I said earlier, it was nice to hear Maggie Staples again. It picked up her story after her significant other obviously had death, and she had made a new life for herself and was getting by, but unfortunately, as you know, by the end of the story, her health was in deterioration, and we got the end result. So good to get a resolution to her story, albeit a tragic one. Tim's right. Doctoral Light story galore. McCoy is in episode 1 and episode 4. That's about it. And you know, it all resolved itself swimmingly, and he's, you know, how this wasn't a convoluted mess, I don't know, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And it was just fantastic. So guys, you be the judge. You go and give this a listen after you've listened to other stuff. If you go online, go on Google, I'm sure they'll give you a chronological chart of how these stories...
Well, the easy way to break it down is this story takes place after the trilogy of Project Twilight. That's right there.
Yep.
When it comes to the and of course the Warlord. Also because they mentioned it in one sentence that the TARDIS is white, because that's from another story that happened.
Yeah.
That was the Angelus with Tari. That was before.
Yeah, that's before.
Yeah.
So anything when it comes to Dr. Evelyn, all you gotta do is start it off from the Marion all the way to her last appearance before this, which was the one with the assassin, something like that.
All right. So just to answer Tim's questions, yeah, it stayed white, but something else happened later on. That's to deal with the captain for the last story, Alessandra, her name is, you know. So.
Well, I mean, it stays white for several stories. I think at least 5 or 6, right? Because it's got white covers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, guys, all in all, you give this a bash, but don't go into this blind, for the love of God, because
you're gonna be hurt.
It may sound like a convoluted mess to you. Good stuff. Right, guys, open mic portion of the cast. Anything else you want to bring up before we get this rated and in the can?
Well, I have a question. I think I'm guessing that there's never a particular story where Evelyn departs the Sixth Doctor, right? This is her farewell, and
yeah, sorry, Tim.
Remember her last story before this story was Assassin in the Limelight.
Hang on,
but after this story, she does the trilogy with Thomas Brewster.
Her departure is dealt with in a flashback scene. I think it's in Thicker Than Water.
Yeah.
Baker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I don't think I've listened to that one. Is that a Sixth Doctor story then?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure it's Thicker Than Water, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, it's dealt with there. Anything else, guys?
I can't think of nothing now.
Well, it's just amazing. I mean, how I'm just going to stress the point how this Doctor is that manipulative.
Yeah,
he's the only one that really is, and he always means the best. He's not being wicked or anything. He always has the best intentions. But his friends always end up getting pissed off about it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Ace. So
especially Ace, yes.
There we go. All right, guys. If there's nothing else.
Yeah, I'm amazed the Time Lords didn't show up with the anomalous death of the Seventh Doctor and the Doctor still being in existence.
Well, don't they get mentioned at the end? Don't they say that they did something to fix the timeline or something?
No, that was Ace telling that to the Doctor to explain how he came back. Oh, it had to be the Time Lords.
Oh, that's right. She lied.
Yeah, she lied to her.
That's another point, because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, AJ, but yeah, that's another point that they make with the story itself, is that Evelyn tells him, see, you taught them to lie. Yeah. Rex mentions that he lied to somebody to make them stronger, and Ace lies to the Doctor and won't tell him how he came back. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Main games all round.
Yeah, very good.
Right, guys, if there's nothing else, it's that time again.
For London's annual Punch Man Horse in the Face.
But damn you, man horse. Yes. Ratings time. A Death in the Family. Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, Philip Oliver, and the late Maggie Stables. AJ, what do you give this stupendous story out of 10?
9 3/4 out of 10.
How the hell am I supposed to write that down in the
9.75.
Oh, is that how I do it? Okay, I'll do that then. 9.75 out of 10 for AJ.
Well, why did it lose a quarter point?
I know, why? You know, like the cover art?
There was an end of the first part where Hex says the Doctor is dead, and it just cuts to the music. I was expecting Ace to scream no, like really loud or something.
So you're pissed off with a cliffhanger. Go figure. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sue, what about you?
I will rate it an 8 because I didn't have the previous information, but I did have quite a bit of love for the whole audio. Thanks.
That's understandable. 8's a decent score. Well, go for it.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5, and the only reason it didn't get a perfect 10, but I wish I was about to say Rory again, but Hex should have stayed in that, ended his storyline there.
All right, fair enough. Nothing's perfect, I guess. Timbo, I think I can guess where you're going.
Well, I agree with Susan to the point that had I heard this out of context, I would also probably give it an 8, not knowing what came before. But I'm going to give it a 10, of course, because that's what I do.
It's a 10-gun salute down in Corpus Christi. Stupendous. And I'll agree with Will. I'll get a 9.5. Nothing major for the half a point. Again, it's just if you're a new listener, which I've not got an excuse, but it can be a bit convoluted. But this story is phenomenal. John Donnelly's in it again. Hell, John Donnelly, he's everywhere, man. Go listen to it. Go give it a bash and Skippy I.O. Captain.
And Ian Reddington.
And Ian Reddington, he's phenomenal. Go for it. Susie has spoken. Go listen. Anyway, done, dusted in the can, guys. To the panel, as always, thank you for your attendance here this evening or this morning. In AG's case, always a pleasure. Please check out our regular buddies on the YouTube. We have Dr. Freedom and his Daily News broadcast. We have Susie there with TARDIS Blues Radio. We have the guys and gals over at Geeks Assembled and Everything Geekdom. We have Lady Neo, Johnny Blue, Sammy Carter. Hell, there's everybody. Go and give them a like. You know the drill by now. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If I forget any, but I'll just stress the point. Please feel free. And it just leaves me to tell you what we're doing next week, folks. Next week, we take a wee trip with Paul McGann's 8th Doctor and Sheridan Smith's Lucy Bladed Miller as we wrap up their first season of the 8th Doctor's adventures with the Cybermen in a little 2-part ditty entitled Human Resources. Yes, Lucy's arrival aboard the TARDIS will now be unveiled, and we have the Cybermen to fight in the process. We will sit down and tackle that with you next week, and we are generally looking forward to it. And with that, guys, we'll simply wish everyone a safe and prosperous week. Be excellent to yourself and each other, and I'm off for a beer. Toodle pip.
Be seeing you.